So then we are back with more understandings from the renewed covenant regarding the scriptures from the Hebraic, Aramaic understanding. And there are many other topics regarding the so-named church. And we understand that there is no church outside the camp. So if you are those kinds of people that never frequented those establishments, please don't be guilty or bad regarding it, because those places never existed. They were concocted lies, unfortunately, because the true understanding from the Holy Creator is He gave then His people a model that they should model themselves with, and those are the camps. So then when you begin to understand where they came from the time of Moses. When Moses came from Egypt and brought the people out of Egypt, that's when the true understanding of the church started. Because from there they came together, went through the water, then near the mountain they received the holy laws, and then they started the first service. Later then they simply had a transfer from the tabernacle in the desert. They practiced then a bit the first service, then they went to the Holy Land or the Promised Land. From there they trained for more than 1,000 years. Then the Creator Himself came in the form of a son. The Creator Himself came, and then He brought the first anointing for the second service. It was a transition of time. So then later the model given from the time of Moses, it was then around the world. They would set up camps and they would direct the world's kingdoms. That's the true meaning of the so-named church. But there is no such word in Hebraic understanding. That's when then the mind begins then to be recycled, because there is no such a word. The name truly is the authority delegated in the world. Because those were related with then first the set apart. It is the very own people of the Creator. The Gentiles, they were included by faith. But the authorities of the world, they were to be directed by the camps. And there is no such word church in the Word. So then the mind begins then a recycling period where there is a transition of, in quote, washing away the concocted words and concocted twistings, and then begin a brand new understanding of where those places came from. It's kind of, in quote, shocking for a lot of people, but church does not exist. What does exist is the camp, or in fact the camps, plural. That's the place where the authorities are found. Those people are endowed with power from heaven to direct the world. So then, many areas, since we must submit to the will of Elohim. He is the true Creator. His name is Yahweh. And He is then the director of His own people. From Him comes then directions, comes authority, comes anointings, and then those are delegated to His camps. That's His private project, His absolutely holy project, and we simply wait at the gate of the Hebrews for further instructions and then revelations of what to do. This was the design. So then there is a name for it, and the name is camp. Simply camp, the camp of the Holy Hebrews. Because regarding the church, there is no such a word. What it does exist is a person then submits to the Mashiach. And that's it. And that person then lives by faith. Every word that the Mashiach said, being the Creator himself, a person then believes, reads the renewed covenant, and they submit to the authorities of the kingdom to come, and those are found only in the camps. The reason why the world then submits, it's because they are directive understandings from the Creator, and they then direct the world. Then I begin to read, and then obviously a person is not related with then the covenant with Abraham, because only those in the camps, they are loyal to the covenant with Abraham. The rest of us, we are saved by faith. We simply read the renewed covenant from the Hebrew Aramaic understanding and not Greco-Roman, because there is no church outside of the camp. The word church doesn't even exist. It's non-existent. So then if for those kinds of people that never went to those establishments, you're absolutely fine. Because there is an absolutely so contrary to what you have learned, that would be then surprising if you then later begin then to experience words from heaven yourself when you stand at the gate of the Hebrews, because those are the representatives from the Creator himself. So then the whole concept then is changing and is bringing a whole lot more meaning, and those areas are found only in the holy language of the Hebraic language and writings and records. And we are very grateful because at the very last time we were able to find a complete copy of the Megillas of the Hebrews in writing, on record. That is the only copy available. Every other copy is simply twisting. Those are twisted. So then this area of then the camps, they were very popular during the first 1,000 years after his ascension, and then later fell into disrepair. And then at the moment those areas are being restored, so then the directives of the world are then being then refurbished and restored. It then has to do with the camps, not with the words of Elohim. It has to do with then the camp or camps, and those are returning. So then, with this in mind, later they begin to read many other areas. For instance, Shaul in Ephesus, and then Shaul wrote titles, and then later Yohanan, and then later then also you can read Corinthians. Those are most of them directives for his own people, because there was a period of transition from the first service and the second service. So have this in mind. When then Yahweh himself, the Creator, went up and he ascended, later then came Shavuot, and then came the 7 spirits of Elohim, and those are the functions, in quote, what then the Greco-Romans lied, stating giftings. Never existed giftings, because giftings in the renewed covenant from the Hebraic understanding makes no sense. Non-existing word. What it does is ministry. That's why you get the ministrations from Ruach HaKodesh. 7 spirits of Elohim, 7 functions. and those are only functioned by his own people. So then when you begin to understand then the camp from the time of Moshe, later then after his ascension, they went around the world forming holy lands. And they would shepherd the Gentiles as they themselves would shepherd when they were brought out of Egypt. So then please stay tuned, much more coming up. And with this, there are many spiritual understandings that must be then given on behalf of the Gentiles, so then they can begin to expect words from heaven while they wait at their gates. Please stay tuned.